Wow, 4 years. 4 years ago, I uploaded my first video to YouTube. It was a crappy amateur video made with nothing more than my phone. I chose to make my first video on what I thought were the top 10 best Mario games. Since that video, this channel has grown so much. We've gained well over 500 subscribers through the years, and each one of you means the world to me. Thinking back on how much I've changed, not only as a person, but as a YouTuber, I can't thank you all enough for sticking with me all this time. While this channel is certainly not huge by any means, I'm grateful every day for the community we've built together. Each one of you holds an incredibly special place in my heart. Thank you all so much. I figured the most fitting way to celebrate 4 whole years of YouTube was to go back to where I started, the top 10 best Mario games. I did this a while back for my channel's first year anniversary, but I've improved a lot since then, so I wanted another crack at it. The list will only include the mainline platformers as you'd expect. I'm sure you all know what you're in for, so without further ado, let's go. Number 10, New Super Mario Bros. The New Super Mario Bros. Games get a bad rap for being bland. It didn't help the series that all 4 of them have the same plot, bosses, and structure. Despite all this, one of the games does stick out from the bunch. The original New Super Mario Bros. Is the only one of the series to earn a spot on this list. What makes this one the best is simply its level design. As the first game in this lineup, the levels don't feel nearly as stale. The game has some solid power-ups like the Blue Shell and Mega Mushroom, but the best part of this game is the unique boss fights. The other New Super Mario Bros. Games have really lame boss fights. 90% of them are just the Koopalings, and if it's not a Koopaling, it's probably something worse like Reznor or Boom Boom. Each boss in this game has its own feel to it. They stick out from one another and really tie the experience together. While New Super Mario Bros. Isn't the strongest Mario game out there, it's one of the most solid ones for sure. It has its issues, but it deserves a spot on this list. Number 9, Super Mario 3D World. Another game that gets a fairly bad rap, but is still a very solid Mario experience. Super Mario 3D World is often attacked for its short and linear level design. The game can feel a little forgettable due to how basic it is in contrast to other 3D platformers. Regardless, it still manages to be a very enjoyable playthrough. The game has a good amount of originality to it. You can choose to play as one of 5 characters. Each one has their own unique stats. Obviously, you have Mario, who is of course the most balanced character. You also have Luigi, who can jump the highest, although he won't stay in the air for as long. Peach, who is by far the best character in this game as she can float in the air, with her only downside being she runs a little slower. And Toad, who runs fast but can't jump very high. You can also unlock Rosalina, who has the spin from Mario Galaxy. Having this freedom in choosing a playstyle makes for a ton of fun, especially if you're playing the game with friends. On top of all this, the power-ups found here are some of the best the series has to offer. The Cat Bell in particular makes traversing each level a joy. Each power-up is incredibly useful. The one thing I would have liked to have seen from this game is more interesting boss fights. Sure, you have some memorable ones like Histocrat and Motley Boss Blob, but overall the boss fights are just way too easy. Although the final Bowser fight will always be up there as one of my favorites. The atmosphere and intensity is unlike any other Bowser fight in the Mario franchise. Also, if you were wondering, I'm not counting Bowser's Fury as a separate game because it is technically part of the 3D World Switch port. However, it's still worth talking about a bit. Bowser's Fury is a very in-depth open world that utilizes practically every element from 3D World. There's 100 cat shines to collect, offering a fun experience on top of the main game. Plus, Fury Bowser makes for an incredible addition to this game. Dodging his attacks is a fun challenge, and his boss fight is arguably the best Bowser fight in Mario history. Some people would argue Bowser's Fury alone is better than 3D World. While I definitely enjoy the concept a lot more, the game is too short for me to consider it a better experience than 3D World. But that's just me. 3D World, while not without its issues, is an amazing Mario game. Number 8, Super Mario Bros. 3. All of these years later, this game still holds up incredibly well. Super Mario Bros. 3 was not only a massive step for the Mario series at the time, but for gaming as a whole. The original Super Mario Bros. Was revolutionary, of course, but it was also super bland in contrast to the games that followed it shortly after. And the 2 separate sequels to it had a few issues too. The Japanese sequel, The Lost Levels, went for a challenging approach. The game is still considered not only the hardest Mario game of all time, but one of the hardest video games of all time. It was considered so over-the-top difficult that the sequel we got in North America was changed to be a reskin of Doki Doki Panic because Nintendo was worried that players here weren't good enough to beat the Lost Levels. Doesn't matter much anyway though, as the sequel we got was the better one anyway. I made a weird rule in my first 2 times doing this video that I wasn't gonna count this game because it was technically a reskin, but looking back that seems kind of silly. Either way, I don't think it's good enough to make the list, but still. Super Mario Bros. 3 was the definitive game in the trilogy at the time. The levels were way more detailed than ever before, with tons of iconic enemies and mechanics that would stick with the franchise for years. The levels feel really short when you play them nowadays, but at the time you were expected to beat this game in one sitting. As short and sweet as the levels can be, the game as a whole is one of the best. It has its issues, but it changed the Mario franchise forever. Number 7, Super Mario World. One of the most common Mario debates is which game is better between Mario 3 and Mario World. I think the answer is 1000% Mario World. Mario World is a much more fleshed out game in contrast to Mario 3, as you're not expected to beat the game in one sitting. The levels are far more interesting and unique than any other 2D Marios out there. The main drawback people have with this game is the floaty controls. It takes a lot of time to get used to how touchy Mario feels, but it's a fairly small flaw in an otherwise flawless game. This game was known for bringing Yoshi into the franchise. Sure, he was mostly meant to be sacrificed so Mario can jump over a large gap, but hey, it's nice having him here. Mario World is packed with unique level design not seen in any other Mario game. This is truly one of the most memorable and iconic Mario games out there. It holds up super well today. Number 6, Super Mario Bros. Wonder. As good as Mario World is, Mario Wonder easily takes a spot as the best 2D Mario game. This is the only game on this list that hadn't come out when I made my original video, so that's another reason to update the list. Although, with my luck, Nintendo's gonna announce the next 3D Mario game and make this list outdated again. Oh well, Super Mario Bros. Wonder is a phenomenal game. After years of new Super Mario Bros. Games that never changed the formula, we needed a game that did something different. Mario Wonder more than delivers on that. The main gimmick of this game is Wonder Flowers. Wonder Flowers have all kinds of effects that makes each level stick out. There's never a dull moment with these things. On top of all that, you can unlock badges that give you some sort of buff, like floating in the air, having a spin jump, starting the level with a certain power-up, and lots more. Some of them even offer an extra layer of challenge onto this game for those of you who are crazy. Me. My one and only complaint about this game is how few bosses there are. Each one of them is just Bowser Jr. using some lame wonder effects. They're not terrible, they just feel more like mid-bosses. This would have been a great opportunity to bring back unique bosses from the original New Super Mario Bros. As disappointing as the bosses are, the final Bowser fight is really good in my opinion. Plus, the Koopalings were teased for the Switch 2 version of this game coming out next year, so maybe that means we'll at least have some more bosses. Knowing the Koopalings, they probably won't be great, but at least there'll be more. Regardless, this was one of my favorite games I've played through on the channel, maybe even my favorite. It was packed full of excitement and I adored every minute of it. Number 5, Super Mario Sunshine. This was a huge game in the Mario franchise. This is one of the only 3D Mario games to have some sort of plot besides Bowser kidnaps Peach and Mario must save her. While that still is the plot here, Mario being framed for polluting Isle Delfino and being sent to prison is a really cool subplot. It's a shame Nintendo doesn't do stuff like this anymore. Sure, it doesn't change much, but the mystery behind who Shadow Mario is and what's going on with Isle Delfino is much more captivating. Plus, this was Bowser Jr.'s first ever appearance. Mario Sunshine introduced so much innovation into the Mario franchise. I mean, the game even had voice acting.
Mario! How dare you disturb my family vacation?
Never mind, go back. Yeah, I'm glad Nintendo never did that again. Well, not counting the Mario movie, of course. One of the best additions to this game is Flood. Flood allows you to spray water to do several things and even hover in the air for quite a while. That's not really how science works, but hey, it's Mario. Flood is a key part of this game. He makes everything feel so fluid, no pun intended, and easy to navigate. Pretty much the only thing stopping me from putting this game higher on the list is the fact that it's limited to beach environments. Nintendo did a fantastic job making each world stand out despite having the same theme, but ultimately the lack of variety does hurt the experience a tiny bit. At least for me it does. But of course, I still consider Sunshine a must-play for any Mario fan. Number 4, Super Mario 64. This, like many other Mario games, changed the gaming industry. I always preferred the DS version of this game, I know, fight me, but I didn't want to overcomplicate the list by including remakes or re-releases. This was one of the first ever 3D platformers made. So many franchises and developers switched to making 3D games almost exclusively once this game came out. As one of the first of its kind, it does have some glaring issues. The platforming in this game can be a bit hit and miss. Sometimes Mario feels like butter, other times the game makes you want to smash your console. A lot of your deaths will be the fault of the game rather than your own, but when you put all that aside, this game is a blast. So many elements from this game would stick with the franchise to this day. The worlds are creative as ever. Most of the stars are really fun to collect and offer a nice challenge when figuring out how to get them. You could interchange this one with Sunshine, but I find 64 sticks out a bit more to me because of its awesome worlds, iconic boss fights, and overall simplicity. Sunshine to me just lacks a bit of the vibrance this game had. While most can have a love-hate relationship with Mario 64, there's no denying that it's one of the best. Number 3, Super Mario Galaxy. We're getting a movie about this game for a reason. Mario Galaxy is one of the best Mario games by a landslide. Some don't like it as much because it's more linear than 64 and Sunshine, but even those games have a ton of linear moments, so I never really saw how that was a drastic change. Besides, the level design in Galaxy is out of this world. Again, no pun intended. The changes in gravity make this not only one of the most memorable Mario games out there, but one of the most memorable video games out there. Every Galaxy sticks out and has so many unique approaches to its missions, atmosphere, and overall experience. Plus, this game has one of the widest varieties of power-ups in any Mario game ever. There's tons to utilize, making for a super dynamic gameplay experience. And I haven't even talked about this game's music yet. I don't know if any game even comes close to this game's soundtrack, or if another game ever will. There's an insane amount of songs, but what's crazier is that every one of them is a banger in its own way. Whether it's an upbeat song to fill you with energy, an intense song to fire you up, or even just a regular atmospheric song, every single one makes this game as iconic as it is. Not to mention how unique Rosalina's backstory is. This was her first appearance in a Mario game, and fans loved her because of her looks, backstory. She's one of the very few Mario characters to have some sort of emotional past that plays into her character in the present. Very few games out there have come close to the glory that is Super Mario Galaxy. Number 2, Super Mario Galaxy 2. We could go back and forth all day on which is better. The truth is, it's hard for me to pick a favorite. But when I think back on Galaxy 2, there's way more galaxies that stick out to me, like Throwback Galaxy, Supermassive Galaxy, and of course, Grandmaster Galaxy. Galaxy 2 took everything from the first game and expanded on it. There's more galaxies, more power-ups, more music, you name it. The one thing I did like more about Galaxy 1 was the story. The story's ripped straight from the first game, which is kinda lame. I get that it's the cycle of the universe or whatever, but they could have done a bit more with it. We don't even have extra backstory for Rosalina or anything. She's barely in the game. She was replaced with Lubba, who's not an unlikable character, but just isn't as interesting as Rosalina. Sure, the Galaxy 1 and 2 re-releases gave her a backstory, but it took 15 years for that. I also learned I've been misgendering her for 15 years. Oops. Like I said, this is the only major way I find Galaxy 2 inferior to Galaxy 1. Everything else is just as good, if not better than the first game. With the movie coming out, I'm still holding on to the hope that maybe Galaxy 3 is right around the corner. A triumphant return to these games would be unbelievable. Number 1, Super Mario Odyssey. As much as I love Galaxy, Odyssey will always reign supreme. Odyssey is easily my favorite Mario game and one of my favorite games to ever exist. For me, it's the perfect mix between an open world and linear game. The exploration is really fun, but you also don't feel like you're doing anything wrong by just going along with your objective. Speaking of which, there's lots to explore here. The other day I was getting footage for my Odyssey versus Bananza video, and I found a handful of more moons just by roaming around. You can boot up this game anytime and always find something new hiding within it. Every kingdom is incredibly diverse and full of life. Using Cappy, you can capture several creatures and use them to your advantage. Captures are a huge part of this game and make it so different from any other game out there. The ability to use an enemy's mechanics to get power moons and fight bosses is a genius idea and keeps every moment of this game fresh. Not to mention, there's endless moons, outfits, and decorations to collect. This is the best Mario experience you could ask for. Everything down to Mario's controls is flawless. I love this game. There's not a doubt in my mind that this is the best Mario game you could ever play. And there we go. Before ending this video, I just wanted to thank you all one last time. You guys have truly changed my life, and I'll always be grateful for that. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please consider subscribing. It really means a lot to me. Okay, bye.